guys, it's Paul here from Military History Gear Review. And as you can see, I am definitely indoors. Haven't been able to make it out to the woods for a while, but things are opening up and I've got a lot of great content planned. I have a ton of cool gear on order that we're gonna be taking out this summer. But until it gets here and until I can get out, I wanted to take you guys through something that is near and dear to my heart, which is of course emergency preparedness. Now, I know this video title says bug out bag, and I have some issues with that term overall. See, the bug out bag as a concept was invented for individuals in the intelligence community, especially spies, that were working in foreign countries, and there was a realistic chance that if they were identified, that they would have to quickly, with minutes of notice, leave their current location, wherever they were living or working, and get to a safe house, an embassy, or the airport to extract, right? That's a very narrow set of circumstances that bug out bag was designed for. So when you see civilian preppers rocking bug out bags, to me, most of the time, they can't even tell you where it is they're going to need to go or what situations they're going to face, right? So the whole concept of having a bug out bag for an unspecified situation is a little crazy, right? People that are backpackers and outdoorsmen, they know that you don't pack your gear for an unspecified trip. You know where you're going, you know what the weather's likely to be, and you know what you're expected to do and what sort of threats you're gonna face. And you plan according to those. And to me, if you're gonna design a bug out bag, that's the way you wanna think about it. And so for my car, right, I recently got a new car and I wanted to sort of revamp my bug out bag, or really car emergency bag. Okay, so first thing I did is I asked myself, what are the emergency situations you're likely to see in a car? And to me, those fit into three major categories that sort of overlap in a lot of ways. One is getting stranded somewhere far away from help. Two is getting lost where you don't know where you are. And three is having a car accident where help is not immediately available and perhaps you or one of your passengers have been injured. And of course, these things can happen to you or they could happen to someone else. You could happen upon a scene of an accident or encounter someone lost or stranded, and they too would need assistance, of course, that you can draw on from your emergency bag, right? So how did I prepare for those three specific contingencies? Well, first and foremost, I brought water. 1 gallon of water. That can last one person quite a while in an emergency. You can also use it to flush out if you have an injury that has debris in it, flush out your eyes, anything, clean, potable water, as every outdoorsman knows, is absolutely non-negotiably essential. So every car emergency kit should absolutely have some water in it. Next, of course, an empty gas can. I will say, if you know that you're gonna be going on a long car ride and you might be in an area where there's not regular gas stations, you might wanna fill this up and just keep a spare gallon of gas, either for yourself if you run out, or if you encounter someone else who's lost, is out of fuel. Next, of course, we have backup food. Now, I've got these MREs here. My plan is to replace them with some of those long shelf life, vacuum sealed emergency bars that are a little more compact, but even these fit pretty easily into the backpack. Next, got a small combat entrenching tool, right? Those of you that know, this looks pretty familiar, right? This is obviously a great shovel for digging yourself out if your car ever gets stuck or dug in to mud or sand. It also has a bladed edge that you can use for hacking, chopping, or cutting something off, or cutting someone free. Next, of course, we've got some sources of illumination. First, I have a road flare. I may replace these with chemical flares later on. I think the chemical flares are a little more reliable and of course a little more compact. Also for illumination, we have this solar powered lantern. And I keep this outside the bag so that it can continually get a charge from the sunlight. And so, in an emergency, this can give you probably 6 to 8 hours of ambient light if you need to work on a car, right? Or even just go out and seek help. Next, of course, we've got the classics, right? Jumper cables used to use your battery to start someone else's or to help someone else's car restart yours. And a tow cable, again, to help pull you or help pull another vehicle out of a situation they may be stuck in. Okay, 2 other contingencies that I rarely see in bug out bags in cars, but absolutely you would be crazy to not have. The first is a fire extinguisher. Car fires, incredibly common, right? Frequently happen after accidents and are extremely dangerous. So why would you not have a simple, small fire extinguisher to prepare for that? Next, of course, is something that I think has happened to almost every person that drives with any frequency, is they get a flat. And fix a flat, right? As long as you get the stuff that's tire sensor safe, this is, you can see the videos online of how to use it. It is a lifesaver. It will seal a puncture and temporarily reinflate your tire, at least enough so that you can drive to safety. Incredibly important, especially if, like a lot of cars, you don't have a spare anymore. A lot of these new cars don't. Next, of course, is, again, a very common but very dangerous situation that every outdoorsman knows is exposure, especially when it's a lot colder than you anticipate. And that's why I have some US Army surplus Polypro bottom and top that you can throw on when it gets a little chilly. A hat for the same reason. Nothing special about this, just a generic wool hat. And of course, a pair of work gloves, both to use to keep your hands warm because they are a cotton weave, but also to handle dirty or dangerous materials so that you don't have to get your hands dirty, which again, in an emergency where you can't get them clean again, could actually be a real issue. All right, next, we have, of course, one last small flashlight, extra batteries, right? Something easy that you can hold in your hand and even stick in your mouth while you're working with your hands. So, what else? Well, we have 2 emergency blankets. And the nice thing about these are Mylar, so they're super compact. They give them away at Walmart, or virtually give them away. They are, I think, 99 cents or $2, and they really work incredibly well. I've seen a lot of emergency fire departments, EMS, almost everybody that deals with emergent populations carries these things because they're just so effective at if somebody's hurt and they're at risk of shock, you can give it to them, help them stay warm, right? And because it's so cheap, you don't even have to bother asking for it back. You just hand it off, buy more later. Of course, we also have 2 emergency ponchos. Got this one that's clear, which is fine, that's all they had, but if I had a choice, I would definitely like this bright yellow one because bright yellow can be seen. It's really visible. And so even if it's not raining, you can use this to signal, use this to help yourself be seen if you have to walk along a road late at night, right? Highly visible, always safer. Of course, a notepad and a pencil, right? Pencil's never gonna dry up, never gonna run out until you're out of lead. And always good to be able to write notes, leave a message, or even just work out where you are, run numbers, whatever it is you have to do in a pinch. Of course, I've got a small sandwich bag and super glue and hand sanitizer. Always good to be able to sanitize a surface or yourself and to be able to seal up a thing, or in some situations, even use to seal up small cuts on yourself. No outdoorsman ever goes anywhere without a fire starter, even if you're in a car, which, most of them don't have cigarette lighters anymore, but still always good to be able to start a fire. I also have a lensatic compass And this seems like sort of a silly choice to have a compass, but in an emergency, if you are lost and you have a road atlas, which I don't have pictured here, but I have ordered a high-end road atlas, just hasn't gotten in yet. But you should always have a map of where you're going, because a paper map, because batteries run out, electronics fail, but paper maps are always reliable. And of course, the lens-static compass is always going to help you orient yourself to where you are and place yourself on that map. Of course, you always want to have a little multi-tool. I might upgrade this to a plier-based multi-tool because I think pliers are really useful. But anything with a little screwdriver, a little blade, is going to offer you a lot of utility. Of course, another thing that you don't see enough in people's bug-out bags in their car is medical care, medical kits, right? And this is a pretty simple one, but you can see in here I've got nitrile exam gloves so that you don't have to touch someone else if they're hurt or wounded and there's blood or other fluids. Got some gauze bandages, some acetaminophen. I have a number of different kinds of gauze and sterile cotton swabs. We have alcohol wipes in here and other antiseptic wipes. We've got some gauze tape. And of course, you see I have $40 in cash. And again, the reason is because if your wallet gets lost or stolen and you're without it, you can still at least use that to buy food, contact someone, buy gas, even if it's just to pay someone for a ride. It's always good to have an emergency store of cash somewhere tucked away. Finally, we've got a waterproof bag that we can stick all this in so that, we can keep whatever valuable stuff dry if we have to. And it'll all go in just a cheap, widely available backpack. And all this, except of course for the 1 gallon gas and the 1 gallon of water and the shovel, fit comfortably into here. So, a couple of things that aren't yet pictured. Obviously, we talked about the road atlas. I do also want to add a tourniquet into my emergency medical kit and maybe a more powerful combat dressing. The reason being, of course, that there's a lot of common car injuries that you just can't treat in any way in the field, so to speak. But one of the ones that you can treat, broken bones and dangerous cuts and lacerations. So we've got some band-aids to help with that, but really you want to be able to address the stuff that's life-threatening, and those generally are wounds that would require quite a bit more, they would require things like a tourniquet or a bandage. So also not depicted is the duct tape. Duct tape is down in the car already, but duct tape, good for everything. Again, and if you had to improvise a field dressing, duct tape is your best friend. Stick some sterile gauze, stick some duct tape over it, wrap it nice and tight, right? And you've really helped yourself out. You can, even in a pinch, if you had a stick, use duct tape to fashion a tourniquet. So it's duct tape, should be in everybody's emergency kit. But other than that, you've pretty much seen my complete kit. Now obviously, everybody lives in a different environment, they do different things with their cars, and they should tailor their kit to their situation. So this is, though, I think a pretty generic kit. You can see all this stuff is stuff that's widely available and extremely inexpensive, and absolutely something that everyone should at least carry in their car, from the time they start driving. So that's all I had for you guys for today. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like the video. Please remember to subscribe to the channel. If there's anything else you want me to see, please let me know in the comments down below. Oh, and one more thing. What did I miss? Let me know in the comments what you keep in yours, what I missed, or if you know better upgraded gear than what I'm running here. Always curious to see how other people think about problems, and sharing knowledge is what makes us all much, much smarter. So until next time, thank you for watching, and I will see you guys on the trail.